My name is Audra Knight, and I'll be next on the Rec Tech podcast.
Welcome to Rec Tech, the recruiting technology show where we talk about interesting new technologies related to recruiting and HR, as well as asking recruiters how they use it to recruit and manage their talent. Today's show is a recruiter edition. My name is Chris Russell, everyone. They call me the mad scientist of online recruiting, and I spend my days helping HR tech vendors on marketing strategy and product development at rectechmedia.com. I love helping connect candidates with employers through technology, and that's what this show is all about. This episode of Rec Tech is sponsored by Job Fairing. If your company is hosting a hiring event or job fair, post it for free at jobfairing.com. Job Fairing helps employers and event organizers to promote their career events to local candidates. Learn more at jobfairing.com. My guest today is Audra Knight. She is the manager of recruitment operations at the global cybersecurity company Tenable. In this role, her team creates and supports Tenable's talent acquisition strategy, including process improvement and employment brand management. She's passionate about using marketing best practices and technology to attract talent that will excel at Tenable. Her side gigs include the social recruiting show, industry blogging, Team HROS, and being in a rock band. I first met Audra at last year's Recruit DC and consider her a rising star in the recruiting world. We reconnected last week at the most recent Recruit DC, and I got the chance to invite her on the show. Hey Audra, welcome to Rec Tech.
Hey, thanks so much for having me in that fantastic intro.
Yeah, it's definitely well-deserved, so appreciate you coming on. So I guess talk us through your day-to-day activities. What do you do in your life at Tenable as the recruitment operations manager?
Sure. It's actually changed a lot recently because when I first started about 15 months ago now, I was the recruitment marketing strategist. So I just focused on different employment brand initiatives and ads and vendors, which I loved. It was fantastic, but now I have a little bit of a bigger role where I'm looking at more at analytics and process improvement. So I'm kind of just still settling in. It's only been a few months to figure out, what's the best use of my day-to-day time. But so far, so good. It's going really well.
Okay. And how big is the company? How many people are?
We started this year just around 750, and then at the end, we're going to be well over 1,000. So we're growing fast. It keeps us all super busy, but it's just a great way to learn.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. So you got a couple hundred openings, it sounds like.
Yes. Yep. At all times. It's
how many applications do you guys get every month?
Well, actually, we discussed this, I think, in person, and I didn't actually know, so I looked it up yesterday.
Yeah.
And we get about 700 a week.
700 a week. Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty good, and we don't even use too many job boards. We were discussing that, right?
Yeah. So where do you get most of your candidates from?
Good question. We do really well organically from Indeed. We do great from them. We do some spend on LinkedIn job slots. We do great with very tough to fill roles on Stack Overflow. Lots of R&D there. That's been fantastic.
Yep.
And then a lot of people, if you're in the cybersecurity space, you know our name. So we do get a ton of people just from our career site and referrals. That's something we have, something we're definitely working on increasing for sure.
Yeah. Do you have any kind of, so I guess you have some kind of referral program in place? Do you have payouts to use software for that, or is it
we do have
manual?
payouts, but we don't, JobBite. We use JobBite to sort of track it, and we do have a payout that actually works pretty well. People seem happy with it, but there's always room for improvement there for sure.
Right.
So that's a new project, one of the things we're working on.
Gotcha. All right. What are your main hiring needs? I'm assuming cybersecurity engineers, but
we do have that, but ironically, there's actually much more, especially when it comes to marketing from my end, for just general kind of developers and sales. Those in some ways are tougher because they can work anywhere to some extent. Where if someone's in cybersecurity and knows research, there's maybe only so many options for companies. So, and we have a great name in that space. So it's a little trickier just to get more, people that know these new different software, and that's why we do well with Stack for sure. Sales engineers are always very tough because I think it's tough to know the technical side and be a real people person. So those girls and guys are fantastic, but hard to find and hard to pull away from a different company.
Mm-hmm. And as we got on the call this morning, you told me you just hired an intern to do some video for you. So what's your mandate for him to take when he's down there?
Sure. I'm super excited about this. I'm very passionate about video because I think that as I see marketing research, their marketing teams are doing more and more video content. And they're talking about, 75% of your content should be video. And I think in recruitment, for most teams, it's more like 2 or 3%. Mm-hmm. Maybe they have one employment brand video where the employees sit in a chair and they say that they love the company. And I think we can do so much better for that. And it just has so much of a bigger impact, especially, on social media, online. People stop, you're on Facebook, you're scrolling, and then you stop at a video. You can't help it. It's kind of like your brain stops and has to watch the movement. Mm-hmm. So I definitely focusing on tons of more video content. We did job description videos, we're piloting those already. And then my new intern, who's fantastic, his name's Tyler, we're talking about all sorts of different projects, and we're going to do really different stuff, really fun, kind of spoofy, all different kinds of things.
So kind of inside life, at Tenable kind of stuff?
Yes. Yep, but more fun and different and kind of exciting, just, less kind of boring and standard. Did you have
to, what kind of approval did you have to get for this kind of initiative? A lot of companies are scary of video, especially internally stuff. Mm-hmm. What, any challenges around that?
Not much, because my director is super, super forward-thinking like me, which is like a super major reason why I joined the company. Yep. He loves to kind of push the envelope and do new things like me, so he thought it was fantastic. He was super supportive.
So how big is the recruiting team there?
We have, I believe it's 14, but we're growing so fast. I'm losing track of numbers, but yep. I think it's 14, and I believe we have 9 recruiters. It was really exciting this year, got 2 recruiters globally, one in our Dublin office mm-hmm. and one in our London area office. So that's going to be that's already super helpful, because they know the culture more. They have connections over there. They know about events, and we are hiring one as well. We're in the APAC area, probably in our Singapore office. So that's going to help as well. So we're growing in our own team as much as we are in Tenable.
Yeah. What's been your recruiting team's biggest win so far this year as far as getting a candidate? Does one come to mind?
I think our R&D recruiters have really pulled some really amazing things out just from sourcing, and we've been focusing on relying less on agencies and pulling stuff more internally. We had a couple of good roles, and I don't remember the exact titles, but they filled them. They were really critical for R&D, and they filled them in 2 weeks, which was crazy. Wow. So our team is really working hard at, just digging deep, finding the right people, and then, of course, the right kind of outreach that's going to get a response to someone that's maybe very passive and possibly happy at their own company. Yeah. They've been doing a great job with that.
What do you see them doing as far as sourcing goes and outreach? Anything specific you could tell the audience?
We do use some tools. We have Hiring Solved, and we have certain types of LinkedIn recruiter seats, but that's more for kind of salespeople. Mm-hmm. But I think the trick is less about the tools and more about the connections and the recruiter, how they reach out, how they show that they're kind of credible to especially these R&D people. They have to show that they know what they're talking about. That's something that's fantastic. I was talking to Lamont, one of our recruiters, a few days ago, and he was saying how he's learning the actual software, and he talks to the people, and he's trying to really learn it so that he can really know what he's talking about when he's trying to pull these people in. Which I think
the software he's recruiting for?
Yes. Yep. There's a new one we're recruiting for called Kubernetes, and he's like making sure he really knows the stuff so that when he talks to them, he's super credible, and these people are going to return his call and want to speak to him, which I think is genius.
Nice. I'm not sure if you know this, but what percentage of your hires come from sourcing? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head. I should. That's actually a good metric I got to add to my list. Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. So you're big into recruitment marketing. Talk about where you see it going in the next year or two, and the types of content that's being created for companies. Because in total agreement with you that recruiting is marketing, and you have to be proactive about marketing your brand these days, especially in a tight job market. So, what do you say? Where do you see it going?
I think sourcing tools are just going to keep getting better and better and better. But of course, you're still going to need the people to really have the strategy behind them. So it's always going to be important to have these fantastic recruiters, even if you have all the tools. Mm-hmm. That's definitely happening. AI stuff, seems like it's coming out more and more and will be useful. I think more and more recruitment teams are going to be pushing their own content or creating their own content. There are some interesting tools for that. I was talking to Muse, and I didn't realize that they create content for teams, which is pretty neat.
Muse, okay.
That's kind of an option. If you have a team of recruiters that don't have time, I think that's certainly an option, using someone like the Muse or having someone internally. Like I have a social media person that really creates the content for us internally. But either way, I think we need more of that. We're seeing that we need more of an inbound marketing model. So we're putting out this great content, not just about our company, but other, curated stuff to kind of push our brand out there so people will kind of know, oh, who is this Tenable? Start hearing about you, more of inbound. And there's still going to be certain roles that, of course, have to just be sourced that are super tricky. Yeah. But the more we can use inbound marketing to have them come to us, that's going to be huge, I think.
Yeah, content-wise, what are you sharing in social media and stuff like that? Give me some examples of what you guys use to curate and stuff.
Ooh, that's a good point. Well, like I said, we're talking a lot about video and the kind of the culture of the company. I think the more it can just be genuinely show what's going on, whether that's pictures or videos, on your career site. We have careers Twitter page, careers Facebook, Instagram. We're doing Snap now. It gets a little bit crazy, I have to admit.
Yeah.
But I think it's
on that, what social media tools do you use to manage all that?
We do use Hootsuite for whenever we need to schedule. My recruitment team uses the free version of Buffer. Okay. So either myself or my social media person. Yeah. So what we'll do is we have a content calendar. Content library that we created. It's basically just a web page, and it has all the different kind of recruitment initiatives or campaigns that we're going on right now, plus some other stuff that we've curated, plus some corporate stuff. So the recruitment team can just go in, copy and paste into Buffer, and then schedule maybe one a day or one or two a day, depending on, if we have got an event, maybe even more, and kind of get that stuff out, help using their networks to spread the word of our different initiatives. And now we're just rolling this content library out to more of the whole company slowly.
Yep.
So we started with recruitment, but just try to make it super, super easy. There are great tools for that if you have the budget, for sure. But right now we're just doing it in-house. I think it works well to kind of give them some stuff they can put out, help us push it beyond just our following on like Facebook or Twitter.
And how much of that is job-based content? I mean, the jobs themselves.
Very little.
Yep.
Very little. Most of it is kind of more campaign initiatives, whether it's like maybe women in tech jobs in kind of New York City, but more saying, this is the cool stuff we're doing with technology. Very little of it is actually jobs. Or I also do a lot of Facebook ads that are super, super targeted. Like I have one right now that's going on using a video that kind of shows our tech support kind of engineers what they do. And the targeting is to people that live in Singapore that know certain kinds of software like Linux and also work in tech support. So the people that are seeing these ads, it's not going to be spammy to them. It's going to be relevant because it's so targeted to them, and it's actually working really well so far. I just started that one.
Excellent.
But I'm all about targeting. I hate anything like where you have a Facebook page and you put out your hot job because your followers, first of all, on Facebook, they're not going to see it. But if you pay to boost it to like your followers, they're all different. They're not going to relate to that one job. So I'm all about pushing out, content about the company, but to just exactly the right people, so it doesn't seem spammy.
Nice. All right, let's talk tech a little bit more. I think I read a stat where it said the average recruiter logs into somewhere between 7 and 20 different interfaces throughout their day. So on that note, how many do you log into every day, would you say, roughly?
Not too many on my end, just because I'm not a recruiter, so they are using kind of different tools, and I'm more helping out.
Yep.
But I know, for them, we use HackerRank to help with assessments for the technology people. And we have a sales assessment tool, but we're actually switching over to a new one.
Okay.
And then I mentioned already Hiring Solved for sourcing has been really useful. The sales recruiters do find LinkedIn Recruiter quite useful in marketing, people that do marketing recruitment. And then our ATS. So coming into where I come in, I do use our ATS a lot, which is JobBite. The recruiters are using more of the hire side and the candidate side, where I use more of my team uses more of what's called JobBite Engage. And that's kind of a bigger pipeline where people, if we go to events, someone can put in their name and email address only, and we get this big pipeline of information about people, and then we tag them to different events, and we can do email marketing, which has been great. I'm really getting to email marketing. I like that a lot, but again, only because they've opted in and it's targeted. I'm not going to be just emailing people and annoying them with hot jobs. And then,
so what do you email them?
So like say maybe a university event we go to, I've tagged them so that we know that they're from this university, and maybe we see that they have finals coming up. So we might email them, good luck with finals, and maybe it's time to start thinking about, our internships are posted soon, or things that would be relevant to them as a college student.
Yeah.
Or if it's an event, I might say, B-Sides, this is coming up, and actually I should get an email out to them because that is coming up. We're looking forward to seeing you there. We're going to have this cool stuff. Come chat with us. Things that I think would really be actually of value to the person getting the email.
Very cool.
And then I didn't jump into when also we just signed on with Clinch, and I know you're familiar with Clinch. I know you've talked to Shane before.
Yep.
It's very new. We've only had it for a month or so since we've been integrated, but I'm totally geeking out on it and loving it because it's a recruitment marketing software, so it's a super useful tool for us.
So it sits on top of JobVite, right? So explain to the audience what it does, kind of.
Absolutely. So it sits on top of JobVite. So the job seeker would maybe come to our career site, check us. Actually, the more likely they're going to come in through maybe Indeed or Google search or however they come in. And so they get to the job description, and now it's Clinch on top, and they have a little description, maybe hopefully a video if it's the right role, and then they can just put in their name and email address to start the apply, and then that clicks them through to JobVite then, where they can complete the full application. And ours is actually pretty short. I'm pretty happy with it. I think the shorter the better. But the cool thing is now is we're getting either information even if they don't finish the application, which is most people. We were looking at our numbers for application finishes and pretty horrified. Yeah. But when I did ask around, I've heard that that's kind of standard. It really varies per role, but some of the like data scientists were like 10% were finishing, which it doesn't actually mean it's necessarily bad. Maybe they started and they realized that they weren't qualified. They weren't great applications, and maybe they saved us time by not applying. But this is all stuff I'm going to be looking into with Clinch.
Yeah. So on your job postings, it's if you go to Tenable.com audience and take a look at their listings, it's just was it name, email? Is that it?
That is it to start, which is so cool.
Okay.
Yep. So we get that information, and then once we have their email, we can Clinch actually links it to their either home computer or their phone, and we can see whenever they're coming back to see how engaged they are, which is really cool. So we can see if they're just someone that kind of popped in once and is applying to 100 jobs and doesn't really, not engaged, not looking at other sites, or we can compare that with someone that maybe comes back every day or really regularly and works maybe for our competitor. And another cool thing is if they are maybe a runner-up and we wanted to hire them or they turned the job down, we can see if like 6 months from now, they suddenly are coming back and poking around on our website, which is pretty cool because then isn't that a perfect time to give them a call and say, hey, I know you chose this other offer, but maybe you should start thinking about Tenable again. So it's just all this information that we have never had before, which is pretty exciting.
Very nice. Cool. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit. At Recruit DC a few weeks ago, you talked about personal marketing for recruiters. It was a great talk, I thought. One that's important, I think, for a lot of recruiters out there if they want to, get better at their job and be seen more. But you got your job through Twitter, so tell us that story because I thought it was really fascinating.
I did. Thank you. It is a fun story. I got it through Facebook and Twitter, actually. I was pretty happy in my company, which was a vendor, actually, called CareerArc, which is great but I just wasn't in quite the right role. I was missing being able to actually do the, being a practitioner. I was missing that a little bit. But I wasn't actively looking, to be honest, at all, because I love the company. And so I was on Facebook, and I was on an employment branding group where we just shared kind of best practices and asked each other, if we had issues. And someone, actually, Susan Lamont, shared that Tenable was hiring this job, which was exactly what I had done before and kind of what I was missing. So I said, okay, well, that's, pretty interesting. But I was super busy, to be honest, and I didn't really want to I figured the application was really long, and I figured it would disappear, so I wasn't going to bother with that. I know better. So I basically just copied all the recruiters' names into LinkedIn to see if maybe I knew someone or had some kind of connection, and I didn't know any of them, and I wasn't going to message them on LinkedIn because I didn't have a premium account. I wasn't going to pay. So then I went to Twitter, again, just copied and pasted those names of the recruiters, and the only one that was like really, really active and had a cool profile was my coworker, Matt. I just thought his profile looked really interesting. So I said, all right, you know what? This is definitely worth a tweet. Maybe I can get a conversation going.
Mm-hmm.
So I just sent him one single tweet and said, I'm your new marketing analyst. I think it had a different title. And because I had a good personal brand, because I believe in that just as much as I was sharing that with everyone else,
Yep.
He liked my LinkedIn profile. He said, sure, let's chat. So my entire application was just a tweet. But what I like about that is that people always say, don't bother with Facebook for recruitment because people aren't on Facebook looking for jobs. And what I say is I agree. They're not on Facebook looking for jobs. It doesn't matter. The point is that they're on Facebook.
Yes.
Like I saw the job because I was on Facebook. I never would have seen the job on Indeed or any job board because I wasn't looking at those places. So I think Facebook is definitely underused for sure when it comes to recruitment. I think people use it more and more for sourcing and for marketing and really the targeted ads. Maybe not so much the new job postings. Those need some work, but the targeted ads are great.
Yep. Awesome. That's a great story. I mean, it just goes to prove that, I think more recruiters need to be better at their own personal marketing. You'll be seen more. And in the case of Matt, he's on Twitter and he made a hire basically because of social media. So
because he had a cool profile, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. That's also a good part. Good point.
So many recruiters they all kind of look the same. They to a job seeker, they all have a great LinkedIn profile, but they're all very, very similar. So I think it's important to really differentiate yourself. And some recruiters do a great job of that, and they tell the kind of what they're doing in their personal life, and they have stories, and they're different. Where a lot of them, I think, are just too much the same. So I think it's important to celebrate a little bit of your personal life as much as you want to share. It doesn't have to be everything, but it can be just certain parts to make yourself seem like a person and give the job seeker something to chat with you about. Yeah.
Good advice, Audra.
Thanks.
So I guess last question, let's talk about HR tech a little bit. When it comes to vendors pitching you, we were talking about this before, but what are they doing wrong and how should they approach people like you at companies?
So I like to complain a lot about the vendor email spam, I call it. And to be honest, it's kind of similar to what people kind of complain about with the recruiter spam, just kind of coming from a different direction, really.
Yeah.
I know I get at least 5 a day emails from vendors that seem really canned, and I feel like they either came out of Salesforce or something. It's like, hello, insert first name. I can solve all your hiring needs. Can we chat next Wednesday at 2? And they're just all the same. And I don't find them, they don't connect with me. And plus I don't have time to reply to all these people. So what I do is basically ignore them all, which is it's not great, but you just get so much of it. You just get fed up, just like the recruiters who are using these bulk emails.
Yep.
So to me, they're just really frustrating. And then even worse is if you agree to a demo, and a lot of vendors I'm finding, once you have a demo, they're just super, super pushy. And they think you're married, and you have to respond to them. And I have one that keeps calling my personal phone and saying, "Hey, just checking in," and it's too pushy. I can't stand it. So now, even if I'm interested in a new technology and I want to see it, I usually won't even book a demo because I just don't want to deal with the hassle, which is a real shame. Yeah. There are some people, though, I absolutely agree, that are doing it right. So it's not everyone for sure, but it's just too frustrating how many people I think are just too pushy. They're missing the what's that thing Gary Vaynerchuk says? The not the 1-2 punch, but the jab, right hook.
Jab, yeah.
They're missing all the jabs. They're like, you get on the phone for the first time and they're like, so when exactly is your last contract ending and when can we start this?
Right.
And you're like, geez, I just met you. Give me we need to date before we get married.
Right.
You know?
So you want to get to know them first, right? And
at least a
human.
little bit. Yes. And know that they're a person. Yes. We've talked about this, but one vendor that I think is doing a great job quite differently is Abby and her team from Skill Scout.
Okay.
They have a cool video. They create videos for you, which, of course, I was interested in and wanted to hear more about. But I met her at an event, and we were just kind of chatting about how we have kids in similar ages and how much daycare was and kind of just chatting, becoming friends. And, of course, it came up, what do you do? What do you do? And then I was interested because, of course, it's about video, and I didn't think she was going to be a psycho stalker. So I said, great, I'd love a demo. And then I thought what else was really cool, when we had the demo, it was her partner, and she did it by video chat, which I thought was just smart because I'm always going to remember her name now connected with her face, and she's more like a person, and it's just much more memorable than all these people you just talk to on the phone, and they just all seem the same again. So I thought that was really smart, and the demo was really well done, and it wasn't super pushy. And I said, you know what? Since we have, I'm hiring this intern and we have some internal resources for video, it doesn't make sense for us. And they were like, okay, great, no problem. And now because I had a great experience and I like the product, I'm happy to recommend it to my friends, and I will keep doing that. So I think that they're doing it right for sure.
That's nice. That's a great story for vendors out there who are listening. Be human, show your face. Yes. And
don't push. Like, just be a nice person, show the demo, and then move on. And maybe check back once, but don't be a super stalker.
Excellent. Well, Audra Knight from Tenable, we certainly appreciate the time today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
How can people connect with you online?
Sure. They can. My name, luckily, is very unusual, so I'm super, super easy to find. If you put it Audra Knight into Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, you can find me in all those places.
Awesome. Well, that will do for this edition of the RecTech Podcast. Thanks again to our sponsor, and remember to check out jobfairing.com for promoting your hiring events. Follow me on Twitter at Chris Russell, or visit rectechmedia.com. You'll be able to find the audio and links for this show on our blog. You can subscribe via iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud if you wish. Thanks for listening. See you next time.